Gosh, did I mess up this year in many ways. Although I can't say this year wasn't successful, as I created the 3120 Diary podcast, got accepted to uni, started uni, made new friends, even found a church, and so much more, still, so much more could have been done, and many mistakes could have been avoided. So, from the perspective of a Christian girl, here are the 11 habits that ruined my year in some ways. Hello everyone, come on in. Welcome to the 3120 Diary VLOGMAS edition. The 3120 Diary, for those who don't know, is a podcast for girls in their 20s who want to become Proverbs 31 women. But if you are a dude, if you are an unbeliever or anything else, we still welcome you into the space because we believe Jesus has a message for you through this video. So for those who don't know, VLOGMAS is this thing where you are supposed to post vlogs every single month of December until Christmas Day. Mine won't always be vlogs. I'm gonna try to do a couple of vlogs for y'all, but I'm not just going to do vlogs. Today, we are gonna be talking about the 11 habits that ruined my year in so many ways, accompanied by, oh, I forgot the name of this tea. Candy Crush Holiday something. I'll put the picture for y'all on the screen, but that is the tea that I have, so go get your tea. Before we get into it, subscribe. Now let's get into it. So number one, and I do want to give a very quick disclaimer before I begin this video, these are the habits that ruined my year. They may not be habits that would ruin your year because my goals are different from yours. And I did want to just say that it may be different for you. So don't copy paste, see what works for you. The first one for me, the first habit that ruined my year in some ways socially, is not setting enough boundaries, which I really thought I was doing. I thought I was setting enough boundaries. I thought I was setting boundaries properly. And as I noticed certain people crossing them, as I noticed certain people continuing to be disrespectful in certain regards, I realized that actually it was more on me to not be disrespected than I thought. I had to kind of have a talk with myself and be like, Anne, you can say that this situation is unfair or whatsoever, but at the end of the day, you're now 21 years old. You are an adult and you're responsible for saying, okay, I'm gonna take my distances with this person. I'm gonna turn down this person. And sometimes boundaries is not continuing to have the same conversation with the same person. Quit disrespecting me, quit disrespecting me, quit disrespecting me. Sometimes boundaries is to take a distance with that person, is to walk away, is to say, I'm not engaging in this. That's actually a boundary of mine. I'm not engaging in this. So set boundaries. It's better to be clear and to not be liked because you are clear about your boundaries than to be liked by everyone because they can disrespect you. Decide if you want to be a carpet or not today. Decide. Habit that ruined my year number 2, the amount of scrolling I did this year, it's embarrassing. It's truly embarrassing. God has shown me in many ways this year that life is very short. I'm embarrassed to look at how much time I spent scrolling this year, and it's something I want to completely eradicate it from my life in 2026. To be successful at what I am doing, I want to be focused on it. And so whatever that thing is for you, you got to bring that scrolling down. That's one of the habits that ruined my year. I scrolled way too much. And again, I've shared this statistic with you guys. I'm going to share it with you again so it can hit. If you scroll 2 hours a day for an entire year, you wasted approximately 28 days. 28 days, y'all, is a month. A month has what, 30 to 31 days in it? You waste about 28 days per year if you scroll 2 hours a day. Let that sink in for 2026. Number 3 that I did that I don't want to do anymore next year, and I used to think that this was okay, which again, it might be okay for your goals, but for what I got going on and what I want to accomplish in 2026, I want to bring that down. I have watched at least one Netflix episode every single day, which again, maybe for your goals, that's going to be fine. For mine, no. From time to time to watch Netflix, it's totally fine. But I want to get to a place where when I am eating or relaxing, sometimes it's a little bit more educational content, documentary. It can be a documentary. Again, it depends what you're watching on Netflix. For me, it wasn't documentary. It was often entertainment and things where I'm not really growing, to be honest. And I just really want to change that. I've been trying to be intentional about when I'm eating, watching something that is teaching me something about public speaking or whatever else. So for these, I have two verses that really match with it because we are a Christian channel and I wanted to anchor these things to the Bible. The first verse is Ephesians 5 verses 15 to 16. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. What a powerful verse. The other verse is Psalm 90 verse 12. If you do not have the passage, that's okay. I'll put it on the screen. Teach us to number our days. I've definitely read this before on the podcast, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. To number your days and realize that tomorrow might be your last. Today might be your last. So you have to focus and you got to get stuff done. That is to be wise. And I want that for myself in 2026. Another one that I did way too much this year is daydreaming. And not in the weird ways that like TikTok will talk about it, but in the way of like, I'm someone who's very often in her head and like thinking of the future and thinking of tomorrow and what this project can turn out to look like, etc. And I realized at some point in the year that instead of daydreaming, God had literally blessed me with this day to do. Instead of just sitting there thinking of, oh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that, and I wish my life was this way or that way. Well, stop daydreaming and just go do it. You also realize when you make that analysis how much time you waste just sitting there daydreaming of what things could be. Proverbs 10:4 says, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. I want diligent hands. And if there's something on my mind, I want to go ahead and do it. Number 5 habit that ruined my year in so many ways, procrastination. I procrastinated right about everything. And there's this powerful verse. It doesn't explicitly talk about procrastination, this verse, but I find it so interesting with the wording. It's Proverbs 24 verse 33. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, verse 34, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. And that hit for me. A little sleep, right? Just a little bit of procrastination, because we always start procrastination with a little bit. We say, I'm just going to push it to tomorrow. And then tomorrow you say, I'm just going to push it to tomorrow. And then you say, I'm just going to push it to next week and to next month. And then it becomes next year. And then you realize I kind of never did it. And I've been planning for 2 years and I never just got it done. And so get this message from this episode. Stop procrastinating. That thing that has been on your heart or on your to-do list, get it done. That person you have been meaning to call them, because tomorrow is not promised. Number 6, in many ways this year, I have been lazy. In many ways. Yes, I launched this podcast and then I got into uni and now I'm employed. So it's not like I have nothing going on. However, I could have done so much more. You guys know about the public speaking channel that I'm working on that I don't think I will be launching in January, to be honest, but we'll see. You guys know about that channel, and I could have started that channel a long time ago. I'm talking earlier this year, but laziness and procrastination and a lack of discipline was the barrier to me doing it earlier. So, yeah, again, lazy hands lead to poverty. The book of Proverbs talks about it, and it's just so important to stop being lazy, to set up systems, especially as Proverbs 31 women. You read that passage, Proverbs 31. She got so much going on. Businesswoman, wife, mother, helps the needy, helps the poor, helps her female servants. She got a lot of stuff going on. And so if we truly want to become Proverbs 31 women, we got to wake up and say, yo, God gave me today. I have to use today in the best of my ability, because as much as I want to believe that I have tomorrow, I might not. And when I come before the Lord, I want him to say, you good and faithful servant. You were faithful. You did what I told you to do without question. I want that. Number 7, and this is like definitely my top one, I think. Going to bed late and waking up late for the most part of the year, that really ruined it for me. There's something about waking up early, y'all. There is something about waking up early, going to bed early, that really does it for me. Ever since I've been waking up at 6 or just like earlier than usual, I've been working out. I've been more focused, because you just, when you start your day disciplined, it makes you feel like you have to continue it disciplined. Whereas I'm sure you guys have noticed this. If you wake up at like 10 or 11 a.m., you just feel like the day's already ruined. So I might as well do nothing because it's already ruined. I'm already awake too late. And so wake up early. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. Number 8. Oh, I did this all year. Just letting my environment get messy and not cleaning when I was supposed to clean. I would say it's a habit that ruined my year because, as I have said so many times on this podcast, you are what you eat. And that can be a metaphor. It's literally in the sense that if you eat your fruits and veggies, maybe your skin is going to be clearer and you'll have more energy. You'll look better physically. So it is a literal meaning of like you are what you eat, but it's also metaphorical because it's you are what you consume. And we don't just consume food. We consume media. Like you're a consumer of this video right now as you're watching or listening through the podcast. You're a consumer. So it's also what we are what we listen to, and we are what's surrounding us, right? We know that the people surrounding us, who we call friends, matters and impacts our character and who we are. And that has to do with your environment as well. Because you may be wondering why this year you weren't able to be super disciplined and focused the way you wanted to, but maybe it's because you just won't clean your room. And if your room has no structure, then your mind has a hard time having structure itself too. And again, this will not apply to everyone. Some people are able to be super productive and disciplined in a very messy room. That's just not me, and it ruined my year in many ways. And had I just been consistent in my cleaning, I could have gotten much more done. I love that. Number 9. Whew. Convicted on that one. By the way, I do want to say for number 8, you know, in Proverbs 31, there is this passage where it says that she watches over the affairs of her household. I think it's verse 27 or 28. I'll put it on the screen. And it's like, if we want to become Proverbs 31 wives, Proverbs 31 mothers, if we can't even take care of our room, how are we going to take care of a household? I'm gonna say that again. If we can't even take care of this little environment of ours, these little 4 walls, how do we expect to become Proverbs 31 wives and then mothers who can take care of a household, take care of a family? You know what I mean? Take care of a business or whatever you got going on. And so this is my answer to, if ever you've wondered, how can I be a Proverbs 31 girl if I'm not a wife yet, if I'm not a mother yet? And as I've said before, these characteristics of taking care of your household, helping the needy and the poor, being focused, you don't just become that because you're a wife. You can start acquiring those characteristics right now in your singleness. Number 9, that habit that ruined my year, checking my analytics every day. I'm a very ambitious person, always looking on to the next thing, which God called me to stillness this year, but always looking for the next thing. What's the next thing? What's the next project? And because of that, I can get quite obsessive about my projects. And At the beginning of this podcast, I was checking analytics all the time, and lately too, honestly, which I have to stop doing. And it makes you hyper focused on numbers and not the initial goal. And I don't know how you can apply that to your life. Maybe you also have a channel, maybe you have a business you want to start, or whatever it may be. My point to you is that you have to focus on your why. Like, why are you doing this? What compelled you to do this? Don't focus on the numbers and the money. You always want the project you're doing to be about something greater than yourself. And those are the powerful projects in life, right? The things that are greater than yourself, not all about you. When I think of the 3120 diary, I think of something that is not about me. This is a channel where we don't point towards me, right? I'm not talking to you about, I'll talk to you about the habits that ruined my year, but always anchored to the word of God. And so what we do on this channel is point to Jesus so that we can become the Proverbs 31 women in our 20s that he is calling us to be. So when you're doing whatever that thing is in your life, focus on the why. My why is that God called me to do this and I am leading women towards him. What is your why? I'm thinking for that point, I'm thinking of 1 Corinthians 14:40 that says, let all things be done decently and in order. When we deviate from the why and the initial purpose, things have no more order and they're no longer decent. You're doing things for numbers, not for the kingdom. And that's important. Number 10 habit. Y'all, I am such a punctual individual, but this year has been my worst year in terms of punctuality. Worse. I have been pulling up to things and places and meetings basically right on time or sometimes a minute late. And we gotta get rid of that, because I used to be someone who would pull up to places 20 minutes in advance. I want that Anne back in 2026. I like it when I pull up 20 minutes in advance. Why? Because you never know what's going to happen. You can't plan for everything. And so to just pull up in advance and be relaxed in that way, I need to go back to her, okay? Number 11 and last one, and this is where Atomic Habits comes in. This year I created goals instead of creating systems for the most part of the year, which really ruined my year in many ways, because if you have a bunch of goals but no plan as to how you're going to get to those goals, they've already failed. You need systems. And so for me, for instance, it wasn't just saying, I want to remain fit, and have this type of body. It wasn't just throwing out that goal into the universe. It was building a system to get there. It was saying, okay, here's the system. I know that if I wake up at 6 a.m., I will work out because it's early and what am I going to do? I had to come up with the system. Okay, so I want to read from page 71 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. Many people think they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. It is not always obvious when and where to take action. Some people spend their entire lives waiting for the time to be right to make an improvement. Once an implementation intention has been set, you don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. We're going to skip a little bit. It says the simple way to apply this strategy to your habits is to fill out this sentence. I will behavior, so that's the blank, at this time in this location. So that's what I did for myself. I will work out at 7 a.m. in the basement. Get specific about that stuff. And through it all, of course, always pray, always anchor yourself to God. I think I'm thinking of the book of Proverbs as I'm saying this, because the book of Proverbs I call it the book of wisdom. If you are just seeking overall wisdom, read the book of Proverbs. It will call you out on the stupid things you do and the wickedness that you may fall into that you're not even aware of. Book of Proverbs. And really the best way for us to have a better year, and one of the best ways for us to have a better year in 2026, apart from prayer, of course, is to recognize the habits that ruined our year. Recognize what we did in 2025 that we don't want to bring into 2026 in order for us to become the Proverbs 31 women that God wants us to be. All right, you guys, that is it for this video, Vlogmas Day 1. I will see you tomorrow, Tuesday, for Vlogmas Day 2. Comment below your video ideas and what habits in this video that you also applied in 2025 that you are not bringing into 2026. I will see you soon, and you can click here for more. Mwah, peace, bye.